Oh, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Soldier Story. As you know, this is a series of interviews in which we interview former members of the JDF to hear their story about why they served, how they served, where they served, funny stories, not so funny stories, great experiences, all those things which shape us as soldiers in the Jamaica Defense Force. Today, we'll be hearing from our guest, Mr. Carlton Alleyne, and I'm looking forward to hear his story because I don't know anything about him at all. Some of the people that I interview, I know about them. I know nothing about him except what we have shared in the brief time we have been preparing for this interview. So the other thing to say, just as a reminder for people who may be thinking of taking part in these interviews, is that whenever I ask you the questions, you only say what you are comfortable saying. So if you're not comfortable talking about something, it's quite okay to just sort of ask me to move on to the next question, and I'll do that. So without further ado, I'm going to ask our guest, ex-WO2 Carlton Alleyne, to introduce himself.
Thank you, Winston. Sir, it's a pleasure being on this platform. Carlton Alleyne. A lot of persons in the army, they still call me Section. And the younger guys remember me as Section. They enjoyed my time as Section Commander. I was born in the parish of Manchester, in a little community called Bellfield, where I attended primary school and also Bellfield High, where I did my tenure. It was a comprehensive high school, and we were the first lot of, at the time, common entrance passes to enter the school. So it was quite difficult. The school was transitioning from a secondary school into a high school standard, and it had its challenges. And for the common entrance passes student, they had a bit of testing times because the curriculum had changed and the teachers, I wouldn't want to say they didn't know what they're doing, but it took some time to grow, and we were like guinea pigs. So that kind of gave me the ability to understand resistance. Growing up
So
as,
what year was that you went to Bellfield?
so that was 1991 to 1996. 1996.
All right, so it's but you keep going. I'm just going to butt in every now and then to ask you for clarifications.
No problem. Yeah, so I grew up in Bellfield because it's a community, and that's where I grew up. I have two brothers and a sister, but I grew up with one brother, one sister, because my next brother is from my father's previous relationship. My mom and dad are still currently married though. What's that, 48 years?
Oh.
They're doing good. As a boy growing up, it was fun because again in Bellfield we had a lot of fruit trees. We had that kind of country environment where we could run around and play games, have some fruits, under the stalwart leadership of my grandmother. But as a boy growing up in those country areas, the JDF was, so far-fetched because again, we only see soldiers in movie. We didn't see a lot of soldiers around. So I grew up in Bellfield. Most of my family, my aunt, my mother, and my dad. So my aunt lives in England. She still does. My mom and dad used to travel a lot. So my great grandmother was the main one, our homestay, that really gave us this background. And again, she was very disciplined. I can share something to you. I can remember the television set was like figurine. So the TV comes out for news, and you dust it off and put it back in because it was a barrel. So you open the barrel and you put that little white cushion thing and put the TV in, and you watch news and some good stuff. And your grandma said, all right, TV time, done the TV tired. So you have to take it up. Yeah, say TV tired, so you have to take it up.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir. That was about 98 something, I remember there was a program, it was a Thursday night at the fight.
Yes, yes, yes.
I always wanted to watch Thursday night at the fight. I was a Mike Tyson fan.
Yeah.
And I always want to see Thursday at the fight, and it was always a problem. And I was always praying for it because my dad was in Kingston some of the time or in Grand Cayman. So I always went home on a Thursday night because you get that chance to watch Thursday at the fight. Grandma, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? So it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. And it
I didn't have a grandma, so I don't have any grandma or grandpa stories. But
and that was
they were
great.
dead before I was born. I mean,
And that was a great grandma. I said grandma, it was a great grandma.
great grandma.
Yeah, so because the grandma was in
Oh,
England. The grandma was in England with my aunt.
right.
And I mean, she moved on later and
That's
reside in Mandeville until she passed. Rest in peace.
that's fascinating. Great grandma.
Great
Whoa.
grandma. What's that? So she understood a little bit about post-slavery coming into
Yes, 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 yes,
post-slavery coming
yes.
into the whole independence.
So you can understand why she would put the TB in the
Yes,
barrel too.
yes, yes.
It's it's not for everyday
No,
use.
no, because
Yes,
again, because my grandmother was in England with my aunt,
yes, yes, yes.
the household was a little bit, I wouldn't say advanced, but it was they kind of set a tempo for the household. So
Right,
what they were had in England, they tried best to
right,
support the household. You know what I mean?
right,
And my mom and dad did a little traveling between Grand Cayman and Jamaica, so that kind
right,
of boost the household. Uh,
right.
so
No, I have
my grandma would say keep us in check. I remind
yes, yes.
because even the good old stove,
Mhm.
we had to have two kitchens. There's a kitchen in the house.
There you
There was
go.
an outside kitchen for her.
All right. Isn't that interesting?
She's not using the
That's
gas. My great
yes.
grandmother would not use the gas stove.
I know some of those stories where people will sort of protect the sort of nice things and only use them on certain occasions. You're right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I need to ask you something which ran into my mind earlier. Your name, Alleyne. I know the name Alleyne from Guyana.
Yes, yes.
It's not a very well-known Jamaican name. Where does your name actually come from?
And funny to ask a question, sir, because again, the buck stop at my dad because I've never seen my grandfather.
All right. Okay.
So my grandmother had a relationship with a gentleman that produced my father, and
Right. So
I
you don't
guess
know anything else.
they
Right.
weren't
That's
on
really
good they weren't on good terms.
right,
So
right,
my dad is
right,
not really
right,
fond of him, or they don't
right,
connect. So I've never
right.
seen him.
Never. Right. Okay.
And I just really challenge to say that was his battle,
Yes.
and he was the one who got me. So I leave that in his court. It's
Leave
not
that
for
in his.
me to dig up firms, and then I think you know what I mean because he's been a good dad. I thought that was
Yes.
his battle, and I mean you don't want to fight for it.
Oh,
I mean
exactly.
it's where I
Yeah.
get it from, and I'm happy.
Yes.
It's his battle.
So back to Bellfield. So you went to Bellfield, and how did that work out? Did you sort of excel when you what? How did you graduate from school?
Uh, so what happened? It was a grade system. So
Mhm.
between 7th and 9th grade, what they did, they had the common entrance, the 5%, and the
Mhm.
regular secondary
Mhm.
students. So what they did, they used those 3 years to, and they set averages to create. I look forward to do the CXC.
All right. Okay.
But again, as a boy in school, we had good moments and bad moments. We didn't.
Yes.
We had good averages, but I end up in a second tier class.
It's a boys' school.
No, boy and girl, co-ed.
Oh, correct. Okay.
So
Okay.
being average boy, we have good
Right.
time and bad time, but I had good
Right.
averages.
Right.
However, I end up in a second tier class.
Okay.
So the school created a let's say they call it 10x at a time. They created this extra class that those were the person that they decided they wanted to do CXC, and I was in 10-1.
Right.
I didn't grasp much of it at the time. Is when I was about to go to grade 11, I was asking some questions because my brother went to Manchester High School, and
Right.
I remember him doing SB and stuff like that. And I was asking some questions. Why am I not doing these programs? And they're saying, we won't be able to do these. We're going to do, what is SSC secondary something counts or something. SSC, that's a SSC.
Okay.
So they were grooming us to do SSC, and I had a problem. I had a big problem in school because this is not what I
Came to do, yes.
came to do here, and there
You
was
came to do GCs or the equivalent of GCs, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So it brought a big uproar in the school because at one point they had me as a troublemaker because they say I'm trying to lead something, but it was not that. I just figured that something that was wrong. So came on board, they had a teacher named Mr. Bradley, and he was the one who spoke to the principal, and they got us to do GC English, religious education, and I think on that subject, because at the time GCE didn't require an SBA.
Right.
But for the SBA, the person who was 10th grade with myself could not transition to do a CXE the next year because they wouldn't have done the SBA the following year.
Right, right.
So that hurt, and I left high school with what? 2 GC and 5 SSC. I was asked to repeat because I went to high school young. I went to high school alone.
Right.
I graduated high school at 16.
Wow. Oh.
I mean, my birthday was the 24th of June. I graduated the 26th, and I was 16 2 days before graduation. So I
Okay.
went to high school pretty young.
Yes, right.
So when I went home and I was asked to repeat, I felt the challenge of being a senior guy going back into 10th grade. So I said no. Being a man now, maybe if I had known that, I would have I would have done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But being a boy then, no.
Mhm.
Can't go back to
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, it's a bit of a humiliation you feel.
Yeah,
Yes.
go back to
Right.
10th grade. So after that, I stayed home for a year.
Okay.
And when I was leaving school, I applied to the Archers. And I got a letter during that year to attend an electrical course the next year. And I went, sat the test, passed, and attended that course. And that's where I first came in contact with soldiers.
All right.
So we went on a field trip by the barge.
Mhm.
And then while doing the tour, it was soldiers. And I'm like, then soldier just run up and down, man, or soldier. So, and spoke. So, the soldier thing kind of got entrapped in
Into
my
your head.
head. I kind of like this thing, somewhat. However, I left Newport. While I was back home, there was an opening at Water Commission, and I went there and started working. It was going good. Very,
Mhm.
very good organization. Things were going well. But as a country boy now, I needed to see the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the funding wasn't available for
Of course.
3 of us because my brother went to college.
Yes.
My sister wanted to go to college, and I'm saying to my mom, I'm a man now. I'll find a way out. Take care of my sister.
Yes.
So there was this guy, this Clinton Mitchell, good friend of
Mhm.
mine.
Yes.
I spoke to him last week because when we were attending school, he was the one that was, boy, I may have to turn soldier. The soldier thing is my thing.
Okay.
However, when we left school, Clinton, dad gave him a car and he started to operate taxi business. So while going home one day, I was saying to Clinton, we need a different job. And we were talking because we're good friends. And he's saying he's going to do the army test. And I'm like, army test? How this go? So him say, normally they come on because the trauma level that was faster barracks. Now I come my faster barracks and do the exam and stuff like that. And so I said, all right, then tell me when to go on. And I think a couple of months ran off. And that was 2001. And around about July, thereabout, he saw me and he said to me, the test is going on in 2 weeks. No problem. And then I went and purchased a Gleaner the Sunday and I saw the ad.
Right.
I took that week and got my basically requirements, pictures, recommendations and stuff.
Yes.
And the morning, Clinton picked me up and we went and did the test. And I mean, to this day, Clinton has not made it in the army.
Oh no. Oh no.
We're still good friends, and I'm always saying to him, I spoke to him.
Imagine that.
I tell,
Yes.
I tell him thanks every day. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Wow. So somebody shine a light for you to see the path and
Yes.
you enter the path and move forward and
Yeah.
he is still there shining the light for other people.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, he's still a good friend and that,
Yeah. And we are men, and he's making a life for himself, and that's a good thing.
right. Yes. But I like what you've just done is you highlighted somebody who was key in helping you to shape your life in something that you
All right.
wanted to do.
Look what I before said. That is this the same man that got vehicles to come to my what's that day? What's that? What's the day again?
Sweet passing what?
Before personal, there's one day in training. What that's family day.
Oh, I never had that when I was a recruit.
Yeah, we had
So,
family day. We had family day. So
right,
he
family day.
and other friend took my mom and dad and the whole crew
Right,
to
right,
family day.
right. That's a good
Passing
friend.
out, passing
Mhm.
out in Monique,
Yeah.
he came as well. You know what I mean? So we have to say kudos and thanks. You know, we can't do this thing alone.
Yes.
Gratitude is a must.
Right, right. So, okay. So you've left school. You worked at Water Commission for a little while. Was it 2 years, you said?
2 years, just about 2 years.
And then now Clinton showed you the path, and you
Yes.
decided to take the test. You passed the test, and you're now going. Tell me about going into Up Park camp and joining the army and starting your training. Tell me about that part.
Well, I will share this story.
Hmm.
Miss Foster.
Right.
Miss Foster. I don't stress much on, but Miss Foster, she was the corporal that was the one that was doing the parade for us in the
Right.
morning.
Right.
So in the morning, I got to Upper Camp, and I was like 2 minutes late, thereabout.
Ho, ho, ho.
I was on time, but you know, to be on time is
We're
late.
5 minutes early. Right.
So when I got there, everybody was there with their bags and farm up, and Miss Foster was at the front, and I was like saying, "Good morning," trying to get
Mhm.
her attention. Good morning, and you know, like she, you know, soldier, young soldier, she get, "Who are you?" I said, "Good morning, ma'am. I think I'm supposed to be a part of that pack."
And that's WO2, Yvonne Foster eventually became WO2. Is that the
No,
same?
no, I
No?
think
Which Foster is that?
from ear wing, she left as a corporal, sergeant, of a
Oh,
sergeant,
oh, okay. So, okay, that's
sergeant.
I was thinking of a different Foster. Okay, fine.
So what
Okay,
happened?
anyway,
I
yeah.
was trying to get her attention, so I, raised my voice. Good morning, morning. Who are you? And I'm saying, Mom, I think I'm supposed to be a part of that pack.
Mhm.
She said, really? Guess what? You're gonna stay right over there.
Oh no,
So
that's
the whole intake was right before her, and I was by the side. Life is so good.
oh my God.
Life is so good.
So
Hold on, life was so good. Guess what happened next? She said, she took the paper out. Carlton Alleyne.
first person.
Next day, Carlton Alleyne. And I'm like, present. And she kicked the girl, like stamp her heel. Say, you're gonna be a lucky one. Go. Go over there. I forgot. We like, can't forget.
All right.
You're gonna
Okay.
be a lucky one. Go over there.
Yes.
That's Miss Foster.
Right. And that was taking
You
place
see
right
this.
at the old Provo unit guard room at Cotton Tree Gate.
Yes. Yes.
Right. That is okay, fine.
So when we gathered it, we spent a couple of minutes, and then once they check the figures
Mhm.
off, truck start
Yes.
rolling in.
Right.
Basically, most of the bags on one vehicle, and then we were shared into different vehicles and en route to.
Did you know where you were going?
No, 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 no. I mean, because even so, so after you pass the test, you did a first medical. My dad took me.
Yes.
I had no reason to know Kingston.
Yes.
Second medical, I went on my own.
Right.
To go back to downtown to get a bus, it was like a challenge for about 5 hours from country.
I can imagine. Yes.
Yeah, so somebody go crossroad, took a bus, and then we end up behind Coronation Market, and we asked some
Right.
questions, and they said the bus park was there.
Right.
So we didn't know Kingston that much.
And then on the morning that you're leaving Up Park Camp now to go to Newcastle, where did you think you were going?
No, be fair to you, I know it was Newcastle, because
Oh, you were right.
but to be afraid of the ground, no.
Oh, okay.
Orientation, no.
Okay.
But to know
Okay.
where you're going, you understand. But The
Right.
ground itself,
Okay.
no.
Right. Okay. So you arrived in Newcastle. What was recruit training about? Who was your training sergeant, your training corporal? What happened during recruit training?
So recruit training was not fun. Not fun. Not fun. I mean, I can't forget that Grace Week was like everybody said, but this thing nice, man. Grace Week, everybody happy. I say, yeah, squad corporal attack, squad corporal reason, everybody a court. Remember, I say, like a sigh, like a normal curse or a jump out, nobody no business with you. No, I mean, so it was rough. You know what I mean, but go back. So we started. So I was in 4 platoon, Zambians,
Right.
intake 85. That's what I was saying.
Mm,
Intake 85, and we also have a nice group. We do a lot of uh functions, and sometimes we do some community service stuff like that.
right.
Intake 85, the slogan "Stay Alive." All I'm part of them. I'm here doing this interview with Mr. Winston Sutherland, sir. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. So,
Anytime. Anytime.
so
So
it
you knew
was
that, yeah.
4 platoon. 4 platoon, the sergeant was rest in peace, Campbell, tanker.
Okay.
Yeah, you know him?
I don't know that name, Tanker Campbell. I
Campbell.
must know him, but I don't know the name
I think
Tanker.
he left as a WO2. Rest in peace. He died last year, I think. Yeah, tanker.
Right. I'm not, it's not coming to me right now, but I must know him. I'm sure I do.
And then our squad corporal was McNeish.
Right.
McNeish, however, at the time he had some injuries.
Mm.
So this was, I think, his first intake.
Right.
So, and then he had some injuries and court issues. So he was in and out of Newcastle. So 4
Right.
platoon became like 10.5 and 12.5. Most of the time we were based on the barracks. Who
Yeah.
lived in 10 side went with 10 squad. Who went on the 12 side went with 12 squad.
Squad. Okay.
So
Okay. All
Corporal
right.
Baker, XW1 now, and there
Mm.
was Corporal Garden. I think he left.
Right.
Yeah. So that
Right.
was 4 platoon, Zambia.
Right.
And 11 squad. For a while, we had internships. So you had corporals come in for 2 days that because McNeish, again, I said he has an injury. And then this was McNeish from 2GR Bravo. I don't know if they call him Dog. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Right. Right. Yes.
I think
Okay.
he's presently serving in the Jamaica Constable Force.
All right. Okay. Cool. And then you said something to me earlier that part of your training was in Newcastle and part was in Monego. What happened? Tell me about that.
So what we learned is that the JDF wanted more numbers this year. That was the year 2002.
Mhm.
They wanted more numbers. So they decided they wanted to do 3 intakes. So the trick in doing 3 intake with Newcastle being the main training ground was to
Mhm.
do the first period of training in Newcastle, and then we moved to Monymusk.
Okay.
So we were in Newcastle for basically 11 to 12 weeks, thereabout. And then on one of those good weekends, we transitioned into Monymusk camp.
Right.
The Newcastle experience is vast different from the Monymusk experience because the
Right.
Newcastle terrains are thorough on the legs.
Yes.
So being on the plains of Monique, it's much easier as a recruit. The ground is much smaller and you're basically confined to certain area of the camp.
Right. Right. Whereas
Newcastle
Newcastle
is
is
like you're
just
everywhere. Newcastle, you're from officers mess to Blackman Square. Monique, you're just in
yes, there are confined
you're
space.
confined.
Yes.
So that amount of running up and down kind of got limited. So Monique was a bit oh no. Well, no,
Right.
you know what I mean? But what money did for us is we had to learn fast that we were not soldiers.
Right.
In
What do you mean
Newcastle,
by
you
that?
can behave as a recruit. In
Right.
Money, you have to behave semi-trained because again, more guess, uh everybody's passing through. In Newcastle,
Right.
you're behind the scenes. In Money, you're somewhat in front of the scenes. So as a recruit, the instructing staff expected more of you of the way you dress, portray yourself.
Right.
So
Wow.
to So what they did with the instructors, they kept a core of the instructors back in Newcastle for the next 6
Right.
months. So they would take like 20 sergeants
Right.
and one corporal from each platoon to stay back in Newcastle. The remaining
Right.
would have transitioned with us into Monymusk.
Right.
So when I went to Monymusk, it was now Sergeant Stone.
Uh-huh.
Camp Stone
Okay.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Corporal Grant, Corporal Chinta Singh,
Mm. I know
and
interesting.
yes, so, and Corporal, I think it was Baker. They was one who came now with us. So Corporal Baker came now with us, and then
Mm-hmm.
Corporal Chinta Singh joined, and also Corporal Grant, no WO1 Grant.
Right.
I think he's the CMA. What's it called? So he's brigade level. So he's at CMA. So he's the commander of CMA.
Okay. Okay. So you would have done your 6 week march pass off the square. You'd have done your first range week at Newcastle. You
Yes.
come to Monymusk, and in Monymusk now, what are the sort of big activities that take place in Monymusk?
So the biggest activity man is going to be passing out.
All right. Okay.
Passing out. So we had to do we did catching pig in Newcastle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of the competitions were done back in Newcastle.
Yes, most competitions were done back in Newcastle. Apart from like some of the games were still done in Monymusk. Our final training, shooting, range week was done in Monymusk.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just said most of the Newcastle traditions were dealt with. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
catching pig was one of what they want us to do, and it was kind of causing a problem. So
Right.
we had to do that before we go to Monymusk.
Of course. Yes. Makes sense. Yeah.
While in Newcastle, though, I don't want to leave Newcastle though saying this. I was always fond of the being at Zambia because
Right.
at my parties, I mean, they were always fascinated by this red light down by halfway tree. That's my Newcastle best memory, you know, because I sat on this step cleaning my boot and I want to know what this red light there. Where is it? I want to go down there. As a young country boy, halfway
Yeah.
tree, you understand halfway tree?
Yeah.
Everybody said that is halfway tree.
All right.
I
So
was
you want to
waiting.
know what this halfway tree is?
I was
So funny you should say that because in my time, we never talked about the red light. I was in #2 platoon, Sergeant Norman at the time. May he rest in peace. We used to have a saying, we would just look out and would say, Kingston, pretty but it far. But we never talked about the halfway tree and the red light at all. Interesting.
yeah, and then from 4 platoon, you can see the causeway, that whole Portmore angle.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could have seen that. So we sat there at nights
Isn't that
looking down at these pretty lights and I said, you know what I mean?
Isn't that interesting? We never sort of had, I don't recall any such detailed conversation. We just looked out at the lights, Kingston, pretty but it far, and that was it. We just got on with what,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
I always want to come down.
yeah. So eventually you got down and then went to Monymusk and then you got to Kingston. So was halfway through the first place you went to?
uh,
Did you actually go and check out halfway through then at some point?
yeah, I did. But I was in the first place again because again, you know, we as country boys, we trust town boys. So
Right.
most of our first experience is what they say.
What they said. Right, right. And they take you. And
And
yes, oh, you're right. Yeah.
some of us end up in some wrong places.
That is true. That
Because
is true as well.
again, you come off a patrol and he changes off and he leaves today, he leaves tomorrow, and he sees you going to dine off to a supper. He's going to say,
Yes.
Alleyne, come on, man, let's go somewhere. And I say, all right, then you're jumping in your clothes and you follow him.
Yes, yes, because he knows where he's going. Yeah.
You know where he's going, and you know, he always come back safe, so you trust him to come back safe, which sometimes is not the very best thing. Sometimes it's good to act on your own.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So you completed your training in Monymusk. Did you sort of get any of the awards or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. So training is finished now in Monymusk and you transition to Up Park Camp. Tell me about going to Up Park Camp and how did that work out?
Up Park Camp. So when I got to Park Camp, we went to 2GR,
Okay.
2GR Bravo Company.
Okay.
And the good thing for us when we got to upper camp, the commander at times started fit to give us, I think it's
Mhm.
a week of introduction to the routines, to everything.
Right.
So even though we were in companies, we wouldn't work with the company during the days for that week.
Mm.
We would meet as
As
two
the intake
GR.
still.
So
Right.
intake 85, but the 2GR batch.
Two Jabats, right.
Let me give this joke. So we were at Bravo Company and
Uh-huh.
we were miscellaneous. Because Bravo Company was doing IS duties and we were doing a lot of Reddy's Road. Reddy's that era, Reddy's Road.
Right.
Patrols. So Bravo was miscellaneous.
Right.
Alpha was IS.
Right.
So for some reason, the Sergeant Major at the time didn't feel it fit for us to be free that night.
Yeah,
So,
that's how majors do.
so what he did, because his name Alleyne, I was like, I got the second senior number in the India. They didn't do it by age, they did it by
But
alphabetical order. Yes, I got the second senior number.
right.
So being at Bravo now, I'm Alleyne, so I'm a senior man of the intake.
Yes.
What he did the evening was tell the arms storeman to issue us weapons
Right.
and tell me that at 1800 at a supper, I should go and join Alpha Company to be
Right.
part of the IS.
Just you by yourself, you.
No, me and the whole intake.
The whole intake. Okay.
Because the
Okay.
senior number, because you know army is.
I see what you mean. There's
Once there's
a
a batch of
Alleyne.
person, once there's a batch of,
Alleyne.
yes, once
Yeah.
a batch of person, the
Yeah.
senior
Yeah.
number becomes the senior man. All of
Yes.
his recruit. Now you have a number. Once somebody turned up, who's the senior man here?
Oh, that's some of the strange things about the army. How do you? Yes. Yes.
So what I
Yeah. Right.
did was I talked to my parties and they supported me, so we had the weapons,
Yeah.
see what we dress, and about because you know you have to be 15 minutes early.
Yes. Of course.
We were trying to be early, so I marched them by Alpha Company. And when we went by Alpha Company, I called them and I was asking to some of the soldiers, tell them what was happening. So they called the all sergeant at the time, Gremo. They call him Gremo. So Gremo came out and he was like, "What am I disturbing for?" And I'm like, "The sergeant major told us." And the man went crazy. He was like, "Man, in a sense, how Bravo if do Alpha duty?" And he started cutting some curse word. Come off and parade and run.
All right.
I was so ashamed. Anyway,
All right.
go back, try to find the arm store man. Arm store man saying, "No, take no weapon tonight, so we have to sleep with them." Say, "What was up?" Like a little Frank or a little Joe. So he said, just pull like a stick on us. Just pull like a stick.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. Well, that's what
No, yeah.
savages do. And,
It's not like in these days where weapons, I wouldn't say weapons weren't serious then, but
yeah.
we as the soldiers know that weapons were a responsibility.
Responsibility.
So
Yes.
once a weapon was in your hand,
Your
everything
wife.
was changed. Not like these days where the mentality is the weapon can be off your person and still be your own. But then it was
Is
on
that
your
so?
person to be yours. It had to be on your person to be yours. The mentality is kind of different. Somebody can hold it, somebody can put it up for me. That was the mentality back then. So when the sergeant major gave us weapons, he knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Shop for the night.
Yes. 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 Of course you. Yes. I didn't. So that is one little thing you just say is different now that you can actually ask somebody to hold your weapon and it's okay. So
No. That's a mentality. It's not different.
mentality. Okay.
Mentality.
Right.
So
Okay.
the
Okay.
guys of
Okay.
today, that's the
Mentality. Okay. That's a
mentality they
different
have.
thing from right.
System has
No.
not changed. So again, is
Okay.
the mentality and
Well, I'm glad I asked because I was starting to think that something had changed. Okay. But tell me something now. When you went into Up Park camp as a young soldier, so 1GR and 2GR were together in Loughborough Barracks?
No, sir. 1GR was in Money, 2GR was in Kingston.
So they were still doing the arm rotations?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay.
That's a good, so that led me to my transition because ER is where I spent all my life.
So how long you spent in 1GR then?
In 2GR?
2GR.
2GR basically, so that was July to February, 6-7 months.
Okay. So your regiment life was very short, and then you moved.
Because what happened while I was in 2GR, there was an opportunity for an engineer regiment. So engineer regiment was asking for soldiers with trade.
Right.
However, they were seeking to get the senior soldiers. The seniors were at the time were not interested.
Right.
So the clerk gave the applications to us as young soldiers, me and my parties. So we did that with certification. So you show the clerk a certification, which I went to heart, level 1 certified. So I showed him certification. He gave me application and I signed. I did the application and I was vetted for ER.
Okay. So you moved across to ER.
So in November, I was posted to ER, attached back to 2GR until the changeover.
Okay. So you spent what, 20 years, 21 years in ER?
21 years in ER.
Okay, so tell me about all of those 21 years. What were you doing for 21 years?
So in my earlier days, it was combat engineer straight.
Right. Okay.
I've done combat engineer, taking it places, done it in places. You know what I mean? I was trained by that's staff grant. You know MacGyver?
No, I don't.
MacGyver.
I know the name MacGyver, but it might not be the same person.
So MacGyver was very instrumental in my development.
I know MacGyver, but I'm not sure if it's the same person. Yes.
Rest in peace, WO2 McLeod. He passed on in December last year.
Right.
And he was also a part of my intake, you know what I mean? And I was the one who did the funeral. You know what I mean? It was very touching.
Right.
You know what I mean? He had an illness and he passed on, but he was one of those combat engineers that was at top of the game.
And when you say combat engineer, what does a combat engineer actually do in JDF?
So first and foremost, a combat engineer is first and foremost a soldier and then an engineer. It's not just a soldier. First and foremost, it must be a soldier. So you have to have regiment experience and then be an engineer. So being an engineer, you must can be able now to support survivability, mobility, and combatability. So those are basically the main 3 areas for the combat engineers.
You were deployed where? What were some of the things that you went out and worked on?
So I'm going to hold that question a bit because I'm going somewhere the question.
Okay.
In the beginning, so the combat engineers, for instance, we do bridging and explosive and stuff like that.
Right.
So like for training exercise, we're big on training exercise. So once you hear these bangs, explosive, that's us.
Right.
Okay. EOD, they do disposal. So EOD is different from us. The EOD don't set a charge, even though they can. They dispose of a charge. So once a charge is set up in a JDF, combat engineer.
Right.
So at one point, the cannons, even now, the cannons don't work as well as they do. So for a lot of our parades, we use the bangs to support the cannons. So if the cannon go down,
the guns that support
the bangs, the explosive that supports the guns.
Right.
So parade going on and the guns go down, we are right there. Remembrance parade, opening up any parades that uses these salutes.
Heroes Circle, all those places, yes. Right.
The royal visits. So we are always hidden in a location.
Right. And you hear the bang, but you think it's a gun.
Good. So you're always focused on the gun, but if the gun goes, so I would have grown from a private up to the team leader.
Right.
So there's a point when I had the radar, so we were there on the radars listening.
Right.
And then if the command doesn't go, I have a signal.
Right.
So when that sergeant of the gun team give the command and there's not an actual fire, I have to fire.
Fabulous. That takes some sort of coordination.
So
all right. So that's one thing. Yeah.
That's one thing. When it comes to if you realize back in the days there was that bridge by going to east, we did some support on that bridge on one of the hurricanes.
Okay, that's beyond Harborview going to St. Thomas, right?
actually got washed away because again the
Yes,
banks,
yes.
the banks of the bridge were soft. So each they put a bridge in, the water goes around and take the softness of the bank.
Right,
That's the whole thing. So what the engineer did know, what they did, they drive piles. So the piles are launched further into the Earth's surface.
right.
So when the water comes, it has something to hold it, rather than you're trying to anchor the bridge on either side.
When you go out and do things like that, when you're talking to the local people, what do they have to say about you doing all these things in their area?
Uh, for one, they're impressed, and two, they are glad for it because again, they trust the NWA, but they just think seeing us there, it is more potent. You know what I mean? It's going to be done.
Yes.
The
If a
NBA,
soldier is there, it's going
if
to be done.
it's
Yes.
government led, it may pause.
Right.
We
Yes, yes.
soldiers, they have confidence that we're not going to leave them. They're the assurance. You know what I mean?
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
This combat engineer also led me to do 5 deployments.
Right.
A disaster responder for the Caribbean, or was a disaster responder for the Caribbean. So I've worked with the CDRU, Caribbean Disaster Response Unit. Colonel Whitman and now Colonel Clark, they were very instrumental in creating what we call now the DART, the JDF DART, Disaster Assistance Response Team that's in Jamaica. So while myself and Colonel Clark was doing operations with CDRU, we had the opportunity to learn and extract concepts. So we could have created the DART. So
right.
I'm saying I've been deployed to five disasters within the Caribbean.
Right. Which countries did you go to?
Twice in Haiti, 2010
Okay.
for the earthquake.
Right.
I think is 2015 there was a hurricane. I think Dominica was 2016. Don't come on these days. I'm not really days. But
I can always Google. I can Google those.
it's Haiti. It was Haiti twice.
Yes, right. Dominica
Earthquake,
once.
Dominica twice.
Dominica twice.
Twice.
Okay.
2 hurricanes.
Right. Okay.
And the last one, 2019, was actually in Bahamas.
Oh yes, I remember. Yes, I heard of that.
Abaco, yeah. And I have fond memories of Dominica because the JDF actually built 2 bridges in Dominica.
Okay.
So the first hurricane that hit Dominica, the Prime Minister was purchasing some bridge for Jamaica, and during the transition, they donated 2 of the bridges to Dominica.
Right.
And Dominica was asking the relevant persons in Jamaica to have the support of launching these bridges. So
right.
they got with the NWA got with JDF. So a team of myself, led by a Sergeant McLeod, again, that time was a Staff Sergeant, and one person from NWA. I'm missing the lieutenant name. Sorry, sir. I'm missing the name.
That's all right.
There's a lieutenant. There's a 3 of us as the main sergeant,
Yeah.
Star Sergeant, and a LT, and then a person from the NWA that came with us to do this bridge. It was 90 foot long.
Right.
90 foot long.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. Yeah.
You know, as combat engineers, we are taught with the Bailey bridges. The difference between the Bailey bridges and these Chinese bridges is the anchorage. So the Bailey bridge is designed with some anchorage that you can pull apart easy, meaning hand. You can use, the mechanism is mainly manpower.
Right.
These Chinese bridges are more nuts and bolts. That's just basic, the base difference. So you have to use machines to tighten them.
Right.
With the Bailey bridge, you can basically use mainly your hands
and put them together.
Or a bridge part to launch it. So
that's really interesting. Yeah, you mentioned Chinese a while ago, because when I was in the army, we didn't have any in the JDF. We didn't have any sort of Chinese equipment. So what I'm hearing is that you're using a lot more Chinese equipment now.
Well, you know, the bridges were bought through China.
Or bought through China.
We were taught with the British Bailey Bridge. So,
Right.
so I'm trying to say it's similar concept.
But you met the Bridges when you went to Dominica to
Yes.
right. Okay, right,
So
okay.
they might call it a different name, but
It's
it
the
does
same
the same
concept.
concept. So we just use the concept. And the
Right.
good thing about that bridge, so that when we built the first bridge, we went back for the other hurricane. So we went to do 2 bridges. It was a team of 25 hours to do the bridge in 28 days. We were doing good. We were doing good. But the second bridge was causing a problem, some political differences, where it was to go and who was to get it. And the LT himself and Mr. McLeod chose not to be a part of that. So where is the big bridge? We will build the bridge. So
Yes.
we built 1 bridge.
Right.
Winston, this is a joke though. So when we returned, I think it was 2 years late for this hurricane, the organizations, they remember that we have a bridge there. They called Jamaica, called JDF. Can we have this bridge put in place?
2 years later.
Yeah, luckily, Mr. McLeod, WO2, he was the sergeant major for the contingent at this time. I was a sergeant. So luckily we were on the team again.
Right.
So they sent back to Jamaica for the NWA rep. No, or they thought NWA and they sent the rep. Sent it to me, and we went, had some chats, and the bridge was built.
Wow.
We even built the bridge before the road construction, because the road construction was late and we were about to leave. So we built the bridge on the piers without the road structure leading to it.
Wow. But eventually I would imagine that the road was built. But let me just ask you something.
It's done.
What is it like going into an earthquake zone like in Haiti? What was that like when you landed in Haiti in the right after an earthquake?
Again, I was a landscaper this time, and that one was rough. You know what I mean? The preparation for what we head into was lacking.
When you say the preparation, I mean, no, you didn't have any clue what it was like to be in an earthquake.
Again, because as combat engineers are the one that understands, as I said, survivability. Right. So the fact that we understand survivability, even though it's makeshift in Jamaica training, we have a level of thought process. What I said was that we weren't prepared. Was some basic amenities were left behind.
Okay.
So for instance, I think this happened like the 12th, and we were there by the 14th. The Jamaicans were one of the first set of persons on the ground.
Yes.
But we didn't have enough tents to sleep in. I slept 4 days outside. There was no tents. There were like 2 tents. And the 2 tents was for the doctors, firefighters, and hierarchies.
So you don't get ponchos anymore?
At the time, yeah, we had ponchos. I think we had ponchos, yes. But again, this is 2010. They were getting limited. And they were not of the quality. If they're not limited, they were not of the quality. So you get issued a poncho in training, sir. And I'm not an 8-year-old soldier. And
the poncho is all used up. Yes.
So I mean, so we had to spend nights outside. I mean,
do you know that I still have my poncho that I was issued at Sanders in 1976?
Whoa.
I still have my poncho.
Nice.
Anyway, let me not get into my story.
That speaks of quality also.
Yes, great quality. Amazing, yeah.
It was rough. The first couple of days were rough.
Rough, yeah.
And there was just nowhere to sleep. I mean,
right. And of course, you're going out helping people. So
at this time, we didn't start because, again, with disaster, you can't just go into an operation and do what you want.
Right. You have to do what people need and what you're asked to do.
Or what you're asked to do.
Right.
So we as NGOs, we as organizations that go to help, we have to, the commanders have to go to meetings.
Right. Yes, of course.
Then they see their capabilities, decide what they do with your capabilities. It's not you just go there and do your kind of step somebody country and do what you feel like. No. And if they don't request you there, you can't go there.
I'll be there. But
So
like when you landed and you looked around, what were the thoughts going through your head? I would imagine that you saw a lot of devastation. What was going on in your head when you were looking, just looking on?
uh, it was just like, what's the question in my brain was, what does next mean hold? I mean, I can remember there was this building with, and this is horrific, where you can see a body where this man was, like he was trying to leave through the window, and then the building crumbled. So
Mhm.
Paula's body was outside the window.
Right,
A lot of
right.
bodies were in Haiti that took some time to be
To be
retrieved
connected.
because
So you had a smell then. You could smell.
yeah, that was very important for the first couple of, very, very important. There was this
Right,
gas station where the you can see where the truck went to to dispense the petrol.
right,
It just came down. And people
right.
tell you that the driver didn't make it out and persons didn't make it out. And you could just pass and smell them. So it was very horrific.
And
Um,
how did you deal with the language? Did you speak with how did you manage speak? I'm assuming
uh,
you don't speak French, but how did you manage speaking with the people?
well, I was lucky because what happened now, the fact that I'm a combat engineer and I was more camp based. My job was to get this camp built.
Right. So you had right.
So
Okay.
I was mainly stuck on base. So I spent a lot of time being an other corporal to get these persons out in the morning, get this
Right.
thing clean, get this
Right.
thing built. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm so guilty. Hope you're doing good, sir. Thanks a lot. You know what I mean? Adamant and myself and Mr. McLeod to ensure that the survivability of these persons were
Right.
utmost.
So you were focused on what you were supposed to be doing and
We
not getting
were the
caught up in the
building camp, you know what I mean?
right.
We need to start cooking.
Right.
We need to start charging phone. When we are start, so I was
So you were
focused,
very task focused.
very task focused.
Right.
Then because
So hmm,
again, what happened was it was once we started flow, it was more so the doctors would have gone to do what they want to do.
right.
Then we had distribution. So persons were during the evenings, we fixed the distributions, and
Mhm.
most of the persons that were going out were just security.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
they just go for the security of the troops and
Mhm.
whatever they had to support.
And how long you spent in Haiti?
I spent 6 weeks. Six
6 weeks
weeks.
in Haiti. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
up, go
Sorry,
on.
sorry. When we did about a day and a half to 2 days, the commander decided that there is no latrine, so we need to find a way to create a latrine. Can't forget. So we had to dig like a donut hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the hole is like a donut, and in the
Hmm.
center we plant a big pole, and that was the toilet. So and then we use, what's the name of this thing? So there's this thick plastic that we use in construction.
Yes.
Diaphragm, some diaphragm, yeah. So we use diaphragm
Uh-huh.
to post it around.
Really? Yes.
Yeah. And then you go in if you need to use the toilet, hold on to your stick. It was rough. It was rough. It was rough. And then we move on till we created uh Thunderbox. And then when Thunderbox were created, the flies came because the flies
Yes.
are already there because of the bodies.
What is right? Yeah.
Flies came. So it was rough. But we did well because I remember there was a visit.
Hmm.
There was Canada to our left because we live on the airport. There was a
Yes.
lot of grassland there. So
Right.
Canada to the left, and there was this rescue company from US. So they
Right.
came with everything.
I
The
can imagine. Yes.
tents were super pretty. They just click, click, click. The bathrooms were super. You know what I mean, when we built our first shower, we went on the airport strip and we found it was a bookshelf, but it was
Right.
welded. It was welded with about 3 different spaces, and we took the
Hmm.
bookshelf, turned it upright, used the diaphragm to put
Yes.
and then we found some PVC to create our first shower.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
And the guys from next door, they were so fun that they came and asked, come on, if they could walk the camp because the camp was growing. You know what I mean? From day one, as we said,
Yeah.
from 4 days, when JD stuff started coming in about 4 days,
Yes.
myself, under the guys of Mr. Ogilvy, Mr. McLeod, the team was en route.
Yes.
There's this from the Herald. He wrote a report that when he came to Haiti the first time, he couldn't understand what was seen because there was a big tank there. You can stand and look and see the camp. And when he left, he came back in a month time and he said the JDF had turned this thing in like towers of whatsoever.
Right.
We went up and beyond. We built this thing till we had even a canteen there. The canteen was even there.
In 6 weeks. Right.
I think it went for 12 weeks because I was
12 weeks.
relieved at 6 weeks. Our next set came. I'm not sure the cut-off date, but I did 6 to 7 weeks.
Yes.
Next team came in. But the camp grew.
Wow.
Persons wanted to visit. You know what I mean? The rescue team, when they left, they gave it to a company from US.
Right.
And you could find them at night time. They want to come over there because again, we rap, we chat. Mr. Ogilvy was big on fitness, so we had some form of games in the evening.
Right.
And Mr. How could I forget Mr. DePass? Mr. DePass, he was a logistics person. He ensured that the stuff that we get were organized properly. And in the morning, the truck were just flowing in because other persons came to help us because we didn't have enough trucks at one point. We got trucks from CARICOM and they supported us.
And in terms of helping the people of Haiti and the Dominican Bahamas, did you ever get a chance to hear how they felt about it, or did you just read about it?
I think in Dominica I get a chance to hear because when I returned for the second venture, it was a bit different because by that time I was a part of the delegates, so I was what I'm talking to person would have appreciated because our bridge was one of, because there was only 10, because Dominica's out of the water, so and there's a lot of little small bridges there. Our bridge was one about 10, a part of the 10% bridge that was still standing that you could on after the hurricane.
Right. So everybody remembered that.
Everybody remember that, and I mean, and my task was hard because I had to get a team to go by where they stored the bridge, and the bridge was not stored correctly. So
it sounds to me like Dominica is your favorite place of all the deployments. Maybe there's a backstory.
No. I'm afraid my favorite trip was in Barbados.
Why was that?
So there's this Colonel Arthurs. He was once the chief of staff of Belize Force. So he does a lot of work with CARICOM.
Right.
So while I trained for CDR, you would have met him. And through all of these deployments, I would have seen him.
All right.
So I was stationed and this is a story I need to say. So I was stationed in the US for 2.5 years.
Okay.
2020 to 2022.
As part of the JDF, you were stationed in the US for 2.5 years. Doing what?
I guess instructor. So I worked at then Fort Benning, now Fort Moore, as a Partner Nation instructor for 30 months at WINSEC. So while I was at WINSEC, I taught the NCO development course. WINSEC in partnership with the smaller islands, they were saying that the amount of persons that they get on the course per year was not significant. RSS. So RSS was saying they are seeing in the development in their soldiers that attend these courses. These are the persons that excel. But they need
security forces headquarters in Barbados.
Yes.
Right.
So they wanted more attendance. So what we do at WINSEC, we do what we call mobile training. We go out and do the training rather than take the students in.
Right. Okay.
So being the leader for that course within WINSEC, I was sent to Barbados by US.
Right.
To do a recce if this course is possible. And I, with my second, that was a staff sergeant from US also. Right. We went to the briefing. I was asked to introduce myself. And I remember saying, because the Barbados, it was, I think, somebody representing the chief because he wasn't available. So
Right.
we sat in the meeting, I was introducing myself and I said, Master, because I use the US rank to, because I'm doing US duties. So I said,
Right.
Sergeant Alleyne C from a JDF. And Mr. Arthur stopped me. He's like, sir, this man is lying. And I was like so shocked. I mean, I'm my instructor. I said, no, sir, let me tell you something about this young man. Sir, he said that he can remember meeting me in Haiti as a Lance Corporal. He met
Yes.
me in Dominica
Yeah.
as a corporal.
Right.
He saw me again in Haiti.
As a sergeant.
He saw me in Dominica again as a
Uh-huh.
sergeant. He just left me in Barbados as a staff sergeant. Now he's seen me here in Barbados come to lead his training. He don't understand this thing. However, here's a joke now, sir. He said to the representative, sir, one thing I tell about this young man. Anywhere I see him, I'm comfortable.
Oh, reputation. Imagine that.
So it was, you know what I mean? My eyes lit up, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was
So
like,
what I'm also hearing is that you got a number of promotions in a short period of time.
yeah, some of promotions, they come in stages. Sometimes it's too long, sometimes it's very short.
Okay, okay, right, okay.
So for the rank of Lance Corporal, it took me almost 6 years.
Right, that's all right. So, okay.
So in 20, so that was what, 2007, I was promoted to the rank of Lance Corporal.
Right.
After incursion, 2011, I was promoted to Corporal.
Right.
2015, to the rank of Sergeant. 2018, to the rank of Staff Sergeant. And last year, 2023, to the rank of WO2. So I didn't spend much time as WO2, sir.
Right. I was saying to you earlier that you look like a very young person to be a WO2. Um,
I didn't spend much time at WO2.
right. So you decided to, so you left as a WO2. What made you decide to leave? If you don't mind me asking.
So 2020, I was selected to be a partner nation instructor in the US. At the time I was so a staff sergeant for a while.
Yeah.
With the Omnia JDF, they moved to brigade. At that time, I would have been a senior staff sergeant.
Right.
Because I was staff sergeant from 2018, so by 2020, I'm in my third year, basically.
Right.
So moving on to US, I'm going to spend 2.5 years. So this is going to take me 5.5 years.
Right.
And I was asking the question, how does this affect my promotion? I mean, upon leaving, it was said that would not affect promotions.
Right.
But while I was there, what do you call it? The policies changed. You had to do the warrant officer course to be promoted.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right.
Not doing the warrant officer course led to me not being promoted. And again, I'll say, sir, I can't not be promoted because doing the course, you're not sure to be promoted. That's not on you.
Right. Yes.
Let's start from my side. I did not do the warrant officer course.
Right. Okay. Right.
Only promotion I'll do because that's not on me to promote me. So I wasn't I didn't get the opportunity to do the warrant officer course before leaving Jamaica.
Right.
I didn't have the qualifications.
Right.
I could not be considered promoted.
Right. Right.
So
Okay.
I did my tenure here. And then I went back in July 2022. April of 2023, there about sometime April into June, I think, I did my course and I got promoted in November. However, approaching my 22 years, my wife is here.
Yes.
And we were in dialogue of what to do next.
Right.
So I felt my youth was needed on this side.
On this side, yes, right.
I mean, they're
So you spent very little time as a WO2 then,
very little, very little.
because your family, you decided it's time for you to do the
Migrate.
family thing.
Yes.
Right, right, okay.
So the family was the main. The family was the main uh, pull for me.
Mhm.
Um, I felt a lot when Mr. McLeod died.
Right,
For some reason, and this is my personal view, as a country boy, you would have loved to serve the army and have a time after the army where you have
right,
opportunity. With this death, I didn't think he got that opportunity.
right.
And that's my view, and I'm not saying it to upset the family members. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
It's my views. So I think I want to see this side, and I've chosen to fight a new fight.
Family thing.
The JDF, I'm in love with it. I
Mhm.
mean, I wish I was like 27 again to do the same things, but
Uh-uh.
I am not that age. So I have to act mature and think mature and what's best for me.
Before we leave the JDF and talk about what you're doing now, you said I'm in love with the JDF. What do you mean you're in love with the JDF? This is not the first I've heard people talk like that. What do you mean you're in love with the JDF?
It's a system that's in place that needs elements. So once you can fix yourself or improve on yourself, there's a space there for you. The space is already created. You know
Great.
what I mean? The whole tier and
Hmm.
the whole, what they call it, orbit of the JD.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So the fact that when I left, I may have left a gap because the knowledge was taught to me and it's in my head.
Mhm.
However, I would have tried to embrace somebody that I left there that they are going to just pull up.
Right.
He's going to
Right.
be able to do what I could have done.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's why I'm saying I'm in love with JD because once you apply yourself, it
Yes. This.
the,
Yes.
it can flow. And you don't have to worry about the closed door because again, and when you grow in leadership, you will realize that you will have to speak about your subordinates.
Yes.
You are subordinate to somebody. They will have,
Somebody.
they will have to speak about you.
Yes.
And to 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 separate the marbles, they have to do it. They only want one marble, but they are marbles. So you may consider yourself the best marble,
Hmm.
but it's not up to you to say that.
To
So
say you're the best.
give them the opportunity to do that. And
Wow.
if this time you turn out not to be the best marble,
Uh-huh.
there's a refinery.
Yes.
Go back
Yes.
to the refinery, go
Oh,
fix it, produce yourself again, and wait out.
produce. Yes.
And
Wow. Fascinating.
and to be fair with you, I may have been applauded by not being promoted, but I did not wear. I did not. It was something I would have argued about.
Yes.
It's not something I've been thinking about. You know what I mean? But it's the possibilities were there, so we talk about that. But I
Yes.
always see it as my job. What am I to do next?
What am I to do next?
That's it. That's
Right.
it. I mean, and I was really proud when they promoted me because again, you know, JDF is once you're about to leave, people asking questions and
Yes.
you're saying something in certain mediums and it is
Yes.
the wrong medium. So it was said that I wanted to leave. So they could have doodle promoting me. And some people say it, some people are still saying that right now. They could have doodle promoting me because see, promoting gone. But again,
Yes.
I did my
Yes.
work. I did my work.
You did your work. One
And
thing before we, sorry, go on.
I think I did my work.
Yes,
And
correct.
and I do appreciate the persons who sat and chose me at that
Shows
time
you. Right.
to be promoted. And with that said, so a lot of us say we are leaving because since I joined the JDF, I leave persons there right now that said they're leaving.
They're leaving and never leave.
Once the contract has not expired, give them an
Yes.
opportunity.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if he
Absolutely.
no, if he's signed that line, I'm leaving. You can't say no.
Yes. Yeah,
But
yeah.
once he's not done that, give him the
It's
opportunity.
yeah.
Give him the opportunity.
All right. Last question on the JDF. That picture that is on my screen there. What is that picture about?
So again, this is
I got that picture from Mr. JDF.
so this is Winsec. So
Oh,
that's the
that's
flag,
the 2.5 year
one
stint,
of the
right?
experience.
And
And
what were you doing in that picture there? Were you receiving a medal or something?
yes, so there is a board that that is there for the PNIs.
Right.
So
Permanent instructors.
partner nation instructors. So
Partner nation instructors, right.
what we do, we meet at a certain time to
Mhm.
support the growth, the
Mhm.
families. So we have events. Again, because we are working in the US, so it's not just Jamaica. So let's name a few countries: Peru, El Salvador, Honduras,
Mhm.
Jamaica, Belize. So it's about 17 nations that are there working within. So what this JAW, I don't remember that right now, but what JAW does is we sit as the
Mhm.
head and talk about problems. So if something's not going right, somebody's pay is not going right, somebody leave is not going right, there are some problems within the sector that, because we have a leader there that can take it to higher heads within the US. So
It's like the welfare committee then, something like that,
it's
or the
nice.
welfare
I
board.
like that. I like that term. Yeah. So the welfare committee for PNIs. So luckily, there's only one Jamaican there, and each senior person from each country has
Right,
attended
wisdom.
the, attended the meeting.
Right. So you were the senior person. So you
So I'm the only Jamaican, so I believe for the Jamaicans. So
Right.
once you serve your tenure as a leader, you get a
Yes.
medal.
All right. And what's the medal called?
Um,
All right. But I mean, do you like wear it at any time? Or do you wear it along with your JDF
no,
medals?
it's not authorized in JDF.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
know because I'm
Oh,
ex. I was
right.
also presented with the United States commendation medal. So
Right.
this
Okay.
was a different ceremony. So I
Right.
received the US commendation medal also.
Mhm. And which JDF medals did you get?
So long service and good conduct, uh, general service, and
Mhm.
the Queen's Jubilee. So three
Right.
medals, three medals.
Fabulous. So you're a well decorated man. All right. So we've gone an hour and a little bit, and I don't want to keep you a whole day. There's football on and all those things to be done. But let me and of course this is going to be broadcast when Mr. JDF decides. Maybe it's tomorrow or maybe it's next week. I don't know. I'll ask him or we can check with him afterwards. A couple more questions I wanted to ask you though. Now that you've left the JDF, what are you doing and with your life?
And for right now, sir, I'm just resting. The faith you, I'm just resting. The there's a there's some a lot of personal uh transitioning are taking place now.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing presently. But again, while I was in the engineering regiment, one of my job was site management. So I'm going to get back in the field of construction.
Mhm.
I need to be a contractor.
Okay.
I mean, and I need to go back in that field. So I think I got to do some studies here and need to get licensed. And that's where the mindset is at the moment. But when I do it in construction, it won't be, I don't desire to build buildings. I'm more for to do remodel. You know what I mean? So
Right.
um, I'm more into hardware, like hanging doors or hardwares and
Right.
flooring.
Right. Right. And you say your family is there. How many children do you have?
I got no kids, sir. No
No,
kids.
no kids. Just you and the missus.
And me and the missus.
All right. Okay. And what is it like now that you have set up life there? You're in Florida now. What is life like there? Do you get a chance to meet other ex-soldiers and how are they supporting you and all that type of stuff?
Faith is, I tell you, my intake is very lively. Very, you know what I mean? And
Intake 85, very
it's
lively.
fine. Stay alive.
Stay alive, right?
Stay alive. WO2 row. You need
Right?
to watch this again, you know what I mean? Because again, he's like he was the founder of the group, because this WhatsApp group has
Right.
gone leaps and beyond. So you know what I mean, WO2 Rose the one that really does a lot of background work and keep it flowing. You know what I mean? I must just reach out to like Taliban,
Who's
Staff
Taliban?
Mitchell, a driver back home. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And the commissioner of police, Mark Shaw, Staff Sergeant, just retired too. And in pure
All
like
right.
this, these guys keep the group going. But while I'm here, we have a cohort of my parties that are still here and they're doing good. You know what I mean? And
Right.
we have Corporal Miller, but he's now in construction also.
Right. Okay. So you have a few people that can help you to show you
Yes.
how to get around and to organize yourself.
Yes.
Because living in a different country is not as easy as some people might want to make you think. It's quite difficult.
Quite
Yeah.
difficult, quite difficult. And then we have some younger, so there are some persons that you'd have met and you mentor them and they left the force early and now you're seeing them again. I mean,
Right.
really, me I thought this time. You know what I mean? Because again, this young man, you know what I mean, since I've gotten here, he takes the time out to ensure so me, if you check up on him, all right, and stuff like that. Because
Amazing. Yes. Yes.
of Florida has a cohort of personnel once you know them.
Mhm.
I've not really uh left gone job searching as yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
What I've done
Right.
since, what I've done since I've been here, there's a lot of job fairs that I go to and learning the market and learning
Right.
what they want and where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Okay.
The military background would have taken me a couple places, but the age. You said I'm young, so the age.
Isn't that amazing? In the JDF, you look young, but when you leave the JDF, you look old.
No, not really. It's just because I still look. I mean, I think I look young, but it's just that I mean, once you reach 40, there's a
40,
different.
yes.
This
Different.
this
Yeah.
this 40 to 50 thing is like a new era to test, and
All
persons
right.
inviting you, they are looking sideways.
Right.
Once they say 40, they are looking
Oh,
sideways.
yes. Yes. Yes.
They're not
Yes.
looking in the
Yes.
future. So
The job
um,
market is very
good.
tight.
So
Yes.
that's why
Yes.
there's this licensing course that I need to do and stuff like that,
Yes. Right.
which I'm going to do and then go move on to construction. But I must say thanks to, I can't leave without saying thanks to my wife, sir. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Simone, thanks, you know what I mean, it's an opportunity, you know what I mean, for us to grow as
Fabulous.
as partners. You know,
Right.
thanks for the support since I've left because again, so
Yeah.
leaving EDF is hard. Persons, people only don't want to say hurting nobody, but persons, people, you got a lot of respect while you're there,
Mhm.
but once you close the door is closed.
The door is closed. Yes. Well, Simone, keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so you've
the,
told me. Sorry, go on.
sorry, so the future for me, who knows me, I'm a go-getter, and
Yes.
there was one thing I think I wrote down that I want to take away from Doctor the last series.
Mm.
I think the question was what you take from the JDF, and he said leadership. I
Mm.
was
Yeah.
planning to piggyback on that one, which I wanted
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
because again, the JDF employs and empowers leaders, and once you're there, it gives you the opportunity. The opportunity in JDF is there to lead.
Lead. Yes. Yes.
But again, they need somebody to be to hold responsible for what's going on.
Right.
And once you use your experience and your knowledge, you can learn and lead. I think leaders are born. That's what I mean.
Mhm.
Leadership is taught.
That's a really interesting distinction that you make. Yes. 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 Absolutely. Yeah.
And I must stick again, go back to say discipline, because again, my grandmother, the fact that I could have appreciate the fact that the TV should be off,
Yeah.
and I wasn't one of those um, grandson who tried to go and turn on. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I didn't like problems. I mean, she said turn it off.
Mhm.
I'll find something to do, and that gave me discipline to make JDF easy for me. Because so when my commander speak to me, it was easy.
Yes.
Then
Right.
I realized that the youths, because the fact that we were the first thing that was break, we were different. And I realized that the youths are different. So as a leader, I won't say you have to reach down to their level, but you have to understand their level so you can relate. And I mean, when we're trying to do it at our stage, we know
Yes,
they don't.
yes, that
So we need to
absolutely.
understand their level and rebrand it. You know what I mean? I
Yes,
remember when Red Label Wine started making some smaller bottles and
yes. No, they have this. Yes, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
product boosted. What? Just to
Yes,
rebrand it. So
yes.
same flavor, same flow. Once we rebrand it, I think our youths are good.
Right. So, in terms of the looking back at the JDF now, what do you think of the JDF as it is now? It has changed a lot since I left. It's changing by the minute. What do you think of the JDF now?
Uh, so it's always going to be changing.
Mhm.
I think the JDF will always be in good hands and is in good hands.
It has always been good hands.
However, the problem I'm having is the time before JDF for the youth. So the crop that the JDF has to pick from is
Right,
not of the quality.
right.
That
Okay.
is that is where we're getting the problems. So I think there's some things need to be fixed within the homes, within the schools, within the mental set of the youths, and
Yes,
this will employ and import the JDF more. But the JDF itself
will be in good
has
hands. Yes. Yeah.
has the mechanism
Mhm.
and team in place to do it. And so we have to be fair. Social media is out there.
Yes.
Um,
Never had that when I was in the JDF.
so what happened? A lot of things that were hidden,
Yes. Easy to see
your
now.
time, my time, are
Yes.
more exposed.
More
So
exposed.
let's
Yes.
not fool ourselves that it's
Yes.
just the youths are bad.
A very good point. Yes.
Then the
Yes.
numbers, the numbers have grown.
Mhm.
So
Right.
10% of 100 is 10, but
Yes.
10% of 1,000 is 100.
Yes.
So you're going to see more problems. So yes, the JDF are having more problems, but we're having a bigger force. So let's not
Yes.
just broad brush it and say it's a JDF. The numbers are getting bigger. So it's similar problems that we used to have, but
But it's bigger.
the bigger is numbers.
That's really powerful. But you are still confident that the JDF it will get through because it is in good hands.
Yes, yes.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
There's a lot of youth within the sorry, there are a lot of youth in growth for
Uh-huh.
leadership
Yes.
that I have faith in.
Yeah, have faith. Well, keep the faith. So, thank you very much. You've taken me from Bellfield right to a park camp to Newcastle to Monique. You've even taken me into halfway tree, which I had never thought about. And then you took me on all these journeys into Haiti and Dominica and Barbados and uh, Bahamas and all these exciting places. So you did want to see the world, and you've got a chance to see a part of the world. You spent 2.5 years on as an ambassador for the JDF in the United States as an instructor, PNI. That's a fascinating life, a fascinating story. And that's one of the reasons I say to people, everybody should tell their stories because I could never have imagined a story which is so different from mine. I was an infantry officer. You're a combat engineer. Very, very different life. I mean, we have some similarities, but to a large extent, very, very different experiences in the JDF. So I want to thank you for sharing your story. I didn't ask you if there's anything that you wanted to talk about, but you touched on some things. Did you actually cover everything you wanted to cover?
Basically, sir, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Alleyne again, sir, thanks again for the opportunity
Yes, Mr. JDF.
for getting the chance to speak because I think human beings must confide.
Yes.
Because when you go to, if someone goes to prison
Hmm.
and they put him in solitary confinement is a reason because then
Yes.
once you can't speak to nobody, it acts on your mental.
Ah,
So
yes.
so we all need to talk and have a place to vent, and this is the reason why social media is doing so well.
Yes, yes, yes.
Persons need to vent and they need an audience. And social media, you don't need a particular audience because there's an audience waiting for you
Waiting for
or you're
you. Yes.
seeking one. So I'm happy for this opportunity to come to an audience of my kind.
Right. And
My kind.
everybody understand when you talk.
Yes,
Yes.
persons of my blood. So we can speak the language.
Right.
I ask other persons to come on board. Come on
And tell the
board
story.
and support the connection for one and support you, Sir Sutherland, with this venture. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Come on, subscribe, share, comment, and let's make some movement. You know what I mean? It's good to show gratitude for one
Yeah.
and it just empowers you to like for me, this moment has been grand because it's like I'm speaking on my whole life to
Yes.
to this moment. I get this last joke. I remember the the first time I was asked to write a bio,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "What is it all about? What's it all about?" And you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Read a few bios, and I wrote mine, and I remember I sent it to my wife,
Yeah.
and my wife called me, and she said to me, say, "Babes, are you this year talk about?" Because the little two sentence in a 1 minute is so much
Your whole
years,
life. Yeah.
so much years. It makes sense, and if the world is using it,
Yes.
you're going to interview someone, say they want a bio or a resume, the world want a summary of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes. Isn't that amazing? Your wife check
Yeah,
you right away
yeah. So this avenue has given me an opportunity now
to
to,
talk.
you know what I mean, to
Yes.
actually see my whole JDF life in, I say, just over 1 hour. So I really
Right.
appreciate this.
Fabulous. Thank you ever so much for coming on and sharing with us. And as I said, I'm going to be downloading the recording and sending it to Mr. JDF, and I'll also send you a copy. And then he'll either air it tomorrow or next week. I don't know exactly when. We're recording this on Saturday, the 28th of September, 2024. So it could be on Sunday, the 29th, but it might not be until next week. But I leave Mr. JDF to negotiate that with you because you also have to be available after the airing so that people can ask you questions. So he will contact you once I let him know that it's ready.
All right, sir.
And then just to say to everybody else, please come on board and tell your stories. I know there are lots of people out there who have stories to tell, good stories, bad stories, fun stories, not so fun stories, long stories, short stories. I want to hear your stories. And everybody in the connection wants to hear your stories. This will now be on YouTube once we have it available. So you can always go and watch it over and over and over. So just again to say thank you to a former WO2 Carlton Alleyne, who served 7 months in 2GR and 20, little, almost 22 years as a combat engineer. Thank you for being with us. And to everybody, hope you enjoy this and thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.